video. It's electrics time, and I've just been, as you can see, I'm in my best clothes, just been cleaning up the garage from the mess from the last bits and pieces, making space for deliveries that have got to come. And just as I finished, the box arrived from Rain Automotive, which I'll put the address down below. I'm not sponsored, I'm not, well, I only don't get enough views for that. It's just the who I've used to do the electrics. I've got outside, and the box says here, feels a bit light, leisure batteries, blah. Feels a bit light, leisure batteries are drop shipped and will arrive separately, and that has arrived. That's out now outside, and I'll just put a picture of that. Also separate to this and arrived today is the solar panel, but that'll have to wait until the roof is being done. So that's it. It's Christmas. And this is genuinely, this is not made up, I haven't opened this yet. It has just arrived by the DVD man. And there we go. Right, what do we have? We have the contents. What's that then? All right, contents. Oh, yeah, and that's the plan, which you can't see, and I'll do a close-up of that. But that's the plan that you do via their spreadsheet that tells you tells them where you want things and how many of the things you want, whether you want them to supply them or you've already got them, and from that they work out the costings and the wiring loom. Oh, and there's the circuit diagram. Again, I'll do just a brief close-up of that. It's quite exciting. Right. There we go. So there's 4 of those along with the surround and fittings. And those, theoretically, will just clip straight. Oh, and there we are. There's a clip. Let's have a look. Does that fit? It does. It just clips straight in there. So those clips are literally on the wiring loom already, and all I'll have to do is make the hole, fit it in, and clip it to the wiring. Superb. So that's it. So I asked them to supply 2 reading lights. One reading light's going to go at the back, which will be over the back seat on the tool cabinet on the right hand side, so it'll shine down, so your reading light, you can sit in that seat with a reading light behind you. And the other one will be at the front of the van, behind the swivelling front seat. So yeah, so there's 2 LED flexible lamps along with the screws for fixing. Superb. We've got more here now. Well, obviously we've got more. It's a stupid statement to me. Careful how to take this. That's separate, isn't it? Look at that. Now that is presumably, yep, control panel. There we are. So these will be the light switches, I have to assume, and they're excellent. They're all labelled. Go to the fuse panel. That's an earth. Yeah, these are the clips for the lights. Yes, so they're all, you can see here, they're all labelled. You can see small white labels as to what they are. It's clearly earthing there. Got a 12 volt power outlet there, 2 USBs and switches for lights. Excellent. Oh yeah, this looks like connectors to the battery, which it is. Yes, so connectors for out, main. Yes, so it's all labelled again. Leisure battery. Yes, so again, all labelled. Right, morning. Morning after the night before. I got ever so excited last night with that stuff. Well, and here it is. I've gone through this morning checking I've got everything, which I have, and checking I understand what it all does, which I didn't last night. I'm going to go around and show you where the stuff is. I've got my mobile as well, so I'll just go around and video bits you can't see from that viewpoint and cut them in so you can see them later. Let's turn that off for a second. Right, so I have got everything roughly laid out where it's going to go, just to show you how it works in terms of layout.
Shall I start at the back or shall I start at the front? No, I'll start at the front, because there is one, you probably can see, I've put the vinyl flooring temporarily against to make it sort of cleaner area to look at. You can see a red cable running down there. Let me go around with the mobile. And you can see here, there's the red cable that you're looking at, and it comes through, and that will eventually have to go up through into the bulkhead, because my battery is on this side of the engine bay, so it's going to come up into here. I'm not going to show you the engine bay, I'm sure you know what they look like. So yeah, so that's going to be connected to the main van battery. We come round again. So now that will come through to here. There it is, that's the end of that red lead here, and that, beautiful, buying the system like this, it's all labelled up. That will go into this, which is the battery charger, and it's for smart alternators. T6, which this is, has a smart alternator. Previous models didn't, they had a normal alternator, and you'd need a different system for that. But for T6 this is fine. So it's going to come in as the in to that. Also in that is the connector there, which will connect to, yes, my solar panel. Bits of wiring up there and connectors for it to go in to make it work. So this takes both the main battery from the van and input from the solar panel. And then again, these have got, this one is goes to the ignition switch, turns on, and you see it's labelled ignition goes to the ignition on the van. All of this gear here is going to be housed in the back here. The cabinets will come up to here, and I want to house as much of this as I can in the back here, so that I can literally open up the tailgate and get to anything should I need to work on it. So all of this won't be sort of just laid out on the floor, clearly. It will be housed in the cabinets here. So connected then to all of this, we have our leisure battery here. This big leisure battery. I've got a 95 amp hour battery. I'm not going to make heavy demands on it because I've got the solar panel as well. So 95 seemed to be a good average. You can get less than that, you can get considerably more than that. And of course you can, I think, double up on batteries if you really have a heavy load, which I don't think I will have. This control panel here, sorry, this consumer unit here, which if I open it up you can see looks more like a domestic 240 volt supply, which indeed it is. This lead here goes down to the connector, which I will attach to the bottom of the van in the bottom corner there, and then onwards with the cable supplied, then down, which will then connect to a point at a campsite or what have you, and you're basically plugging up the van for 240 volts. Attached to that is a 30 amp socket. Again, it's labelled there, attached, and that will run this battery charger here, which of course will be attached to the leisure battery. And we've got the various terminals and bits and pieces here to connect up the leisure battery. Attached to all of that, we have our fuse panel. And I showed you that yesterday. We've got a number of fuses in there, and you can see all of these bits are labelled. That's where it comes from, the CTEC out there, which takes you to the leisure battery. And then we've got here the CTEC as well, connection, so you know where everything is going. So what I'm going to do first is take these top panels out of the van so I can get to whatever channels I've got and see where I can feed things through, measure up exactly where, for instance, in that bundle of cables there, again if I just do a quick video here with this one, in that bundle of cables there are also cables for fridge, for the water pump, for hob ignition, for the gas hob. So I need to know where I'm going to place those things. I'm going to mark out, so I can. That's another reason why I haven't covered these panels yet, because I can mark on them. I can write where I want holes put through, where cables will come, and mark out where things are going to go. Once, of course, it's all done in place and the cabinet's there and it's covered, you won't see those markings. But no point in covering them at the minute. They will need to be adjusted and marked on. So I'm now finally happy that I have got what I need, and I know where it's all going to go. Yeah, I know I say that now. I know, yeah, I know. Yeah, you're all laughing there watching this, aren't you? Yeah. Right, go away. Leave me alone. And welcome back. This is a couple of days later now from when I last showed you what the wiring was. Since then, it's now become meteorological autumn. I think that's right, isn't it? September the 1st, meteorological autumn. So I've got my autumn collection on. My brother's been for the last couple of days and been helping me starting to put the wiring in. I'm just going to show you what we've done so far. You can see some bits over there which I'll explain in a moment. I have taken out, put that down, taken out the panelling off the roof. So the panelling off the roof, there we go, to widen out on that. So all the internal panelling's gone, and you can see the wiring that's part of the original build of the van. So the most important thing for me was, when I needed my brother's help for, was getting wires fed through various places, and the most important being the one from the main battery that feeds in. So let's start by looking at what went on in the engine bay, and hopefully the noise from next door won't be too disturbing. That they're cleaning, there's a rented house next door and they're cleaning it ready for new tenants, I think. So without that, so it immediately stops. Anyway, not to worry, that's good. And it starts again, never mind. Let's show you what I've been doing in the engine bay. The main battery, my main vehicle battery, is here under this cover. What I've done is peel back this trim, rubber trim here, and then there were two bolts. Let me just turn that off for a minute. Put that there, I'll use that in a moment. There were two bolts, one here and one in here, holding this panel in place, which simply slides down inside there, which I'll put back in a minute, and bolts into place. Behind that, I have used an existing unused grommet through the bulkhead there, and the red cable is the one that I've fed through, and then we put it through this panel, the one that we just pulled out, so that then comes into the engine bay, and currently is not connected. There's an inline fuse there, but that will be connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So there we are, the rubber trim back on. The plate you can't now see is via the bolts here, excuse my finger, cut my finger, and one behind the rubber you can't see, but there's the cable running in, which will eventually be connected to the live terminal there. So I'm not powering anything up in the circuit until it's all in place. Right, so that's that job done. As I say, it's not connected, so now I'm round here, and it's behind this part of the bulkhead. So it's coming down in the corner down here somewhere. So I need to get the panel off here, which in the T6, which this is simply a pull-off panel. I'll show you. It just simply clips in and out. There we are. So it just pulls out on clips. I'm not going to take the whole thing out. You can see that straightforward. I know on the T5 it's slightly different. You can take out this side panel if you want to. I did. Be very careful because there's the passenger airbag switch there. Careful not to dislodge that, which was fine. And my brother then fed the cable through. The main part that we did though was to take this out. You can see it really just pulls out quite straightforward, tucks in underneath the rubber, underneath that section at the top there. Just pull it out, very flexible. There we are. Now, I won't go all the way because I also took this step out here, and you can see there's the cable. It ran down here quite straightforwardly. Cleaned this area with brake cleaner, fixed with these adhesive pads, and it runs underneath here, and then I'm here with my plaster on my finger to stop the blood going everywhere. The cable goes under here and then goes underneath the seat, and I'm going to go around the other side now. So in here take this off. You can see I've taken the vinyl flooring out as well, so I don't damage that. Now I don't know if you can see, I'm going to get the mobile phone again and video it, but there is under here, and indeed the driver's seat as well, a whole series of wires for the vans, seat belts or whatever, for the pretensioners and all that sort of thing. A lot of wires running through, and I've piggybacked that channel. So there we are, and you can see here there's existing wires, and I've piggybacked that, and it goes through. And if we go over here to there, you can see it comes through there and through under the mat and reappears in the corner here. The moment it's just taped there out of the way, and will run eventually down to the back of the van where you saw earlier on where all my electrics will be fixed. So you'll also see there's a small wire there which follows the same route. Now let's go back to the front. There it is, that small wire. That small wire, if I just push this out of the way temporarily, goes into the fuse box. Now again, I've not connected it yet, but let's take the fuse box off. You can see the cable there at the bottom waiting to be connected. The 5th fuse holder down from the right is the ignition, and I will use a piggyback connector to connect my wire to that, so that when the ignition's turned on, that power then goes to the split charger. So those are the two cables, one from down there in the fuse box, one coming through the bulkhead and down here underneath the matting, and along there underneath the seats, round through there, get my finger away from the lens, that would help, and round to the other side of the van, ready to be put in place. Right, there we go. Right, it's sort of 2 days later now, and reached an impasse really. Can't do any more now until the roof is done. After that video, my brother and I did put some cables in on the back round the ridge, with the original cabling, some downlighters and what have you cabling. The rest of the cabling is behind that panel, the tall panel at the back at the moment, and we can do no more until the roof is in place. I had an email this morning from the company who's installing the roof for me, asking for the colour code for the van. So at least the roof is made and being sprayed. When it's going to be fitted, I don't know. The original deadline was some 4 to 5 weeks away, so let's hope for 4 rather than 5. But that's it until that roof is done, so there will be a short break, about a month or so. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed them so far. Please do like and subscribe, but I will see you potentially in about a month. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Okay.